My best friend was drinking 3 energy drinks before school every single day. I told him he had to stop, but he wouldn't listen. It all came to a head during the presidential fitness test when he collapsed, and the paramedics had to get called for him in front of our entire grade. Let me back up. This didn't start with a bang. It started with a whisper, a pop-tab hiss in the hallway before first period. My best friend Leo was a human hummingbird. He vibrated, not walked. His leg bounced so much under his desk in algebra that our teacher, Mr. Davies, once asked if he was generating a seismic event. But it wasn't always like this. Freshman year, Leo was just Leo, chill. Funny, maybe a little too obsessed with obscure video game lore. Then sophomore year hit. And with it came the discovery of neon green energy drinks that tasted like battery acid and regret. It started with 1 Ken before school. He said it helped him focus. Then it was 1 before school and 1 at lunch. By the time the presidential fitness test rolled around, he was up to 3 cans every single day. His parents were literally buying them for him by the case. They thought his newfound energy and drive were a good thing. They didn't see the way his hands trembled when he tried to tie his shoes. Bro, you're gonna have a heart attack before junior year. I said last week, watching him crack open his 3rd neon green can before noon. He just laughed, his eyes a little too wide. It's fine, man. It helps me focus. Plus, it's got vitamins. The gym smelled like sweat and floor wax. The usual. Coach Thompson, a man who just wants to sit in his office and watch SFN highlights, blew his whistle. The sound echoed off the cinder block walls. All right, people, the mile run. Let's see some hustle. We all lined up on the track that circled the basketball courts. For Leo, it was a catastrophe waiting to happen. He'd already slammed 2 energy drinks that morning, and I saw him chugging a 3rd one behind the bleachers right before we started. Dude, are you serious? I asked. You can't run a mile after all that. He just gave me this wild grin. Nah, I'm gonna set a record. I feel amazing. I can feel colors, man. The whistle blew again, and we were off. He shot out of the gate like he was fired from a cannon. He finished his first lap a solid 30 seconds before anyone else. He was a blur of red shorts and flailing limbs. But on the second lap, something changed. His pace got weird. His face, usually tan, went from determined to pale and was beaded with sweat. His breathing wasn't the rhythmic puffing of a runner. It was short, ragged gasps. He looked wrong. He started clutching his chest. I tried to call out to him. Leo! Slow down, man. But he didn't hear me. He just kept pushing. He passed me, and I saw his eyes. They were unfocused, glassy. And then he just stopped. Not a slow jog to a stop. He stopped like a cartoon character hitting an invisible wall. He swayed for a second, his hands still clutching his chest. A weird, guttural sound came out of his throat, and then he collapsed, face down. He didn't even try to catch himself. Just a dead weight hitting the polished wood floor with a sickening thud that silenced the entire gym. The only sound was the squeak of our sneakers as everyone else skidded to a halt. For a second, nobody moved. We were all just frozen. Then Coach Thompson was sprinting across the court, yelling something into his walkie-talkie. People started screaming. I just stood there, my own heart hammering against my ribs, watching my best friend lie completely still on the floor. That's when the doors to the gym burst open, and 2 paramedics rolled in a stretcher. Leo ended up being okay, physically at least. The doctor said it was a combination of severe dehydration and a massive caffeine overdose that caused a cardiac arrhythmia. His heart had tried to sprint a marathon. He was in the hospital overnight for observation. But the school went into full-on panic mode. The next morning, the principal's voice boomed over the intercom. Effective immediately, all energy drinks are banned from school grounds. Any student found with one will face immediate suspension. They called it the Leo rule. And just like that, Leo went from being the kid who passed out to the reason the entire football team couldn't have their pregame ritual anymore. He became a pariah overnight. Kids he didn't even know would walk past him in the hall and mutter, "Thanks a lot, man." The glares in the cafeteria were brutal. He started eating lunch in the library. My friend, the human hummingbird, was suddenly silent and still. I tried to stick by him. Don't listen to them, I'd say. They're just mad they can't have their stupid drinks. You're what matters. He'd just shrug, not meeting my eyes. It's my fault, dude. You were right. I was an idiot. The guilt was eating him alive. Then came the parent-teacher conferences. My mom told me that Leo's parents were a nightmare. They didn't blame Leo or the energy drink company. They blamed the school. They blamed Coach Thompson for pushing the students too hard. They even blamed me. Apparently, during their conference, Leo's mom said, well, his friend Ben never seemed to have a problem with it. He never told an adult. Maybe if Leo had better friends looking out for him, this wouldn't have happened. When my mom told me that, something inside me just snapped. I had warned him. I had watched him poison himself every single morning, and now his parents were trying to pin his collapse on me? Oh no. This is where my Trojan horse plan was born. I wasn't going to yell. I was going to be the most supportive, understanding friend they had ever seen. I was going to agree with them. Publicly. The next day, I went up to Leo's mom when she was picking him up from school. I put on my most sincere, apologetic face. Mrs. Davies, I'm so sorry. You were right. I should have done more. I feel terrible. She looked surprised, then her expression softened into a smug, self-satisfied smile. Well, Benjamin, it's good you realize that. We just want what's best for our Leo. I kept it up for a week. I helped Leo with his makeup work. I brought him homework. I told his parents how unfair the school was being, how this ban was punishing everyone. They ate it up. They thought I was their ally in their weird war against common sense. All the while, I was seething. At night, I'd go over her words in my head. Maybe if Leo had better friends. Me, the one who tried to stop him, being blamed by the very people who bought him cases of that poison. The injustice was so huge, it felt like it was filling up my whole chest. My public face was all smiles and concern. My private face was rage. I knew what I had to do. The trap was simple, and it hinged on their arrogance. I knew the school board meeting about the new wellness policy was coming up. Parents were invited to speak. I also knew Leo's parents were planning to go and make a huge scene about the draconian energy drink ban. 2 days before the meeting, I went over to Leo's house under the pretense of a study session. My heart hammered against my ribs the whole walk over. This was it. While Leo was in the bathroom, I asked his mom if it was okay for me to grab a water from the garage fridge. Of course, Ben, help yourself. She said, beaming at me, this was my chance. As I walked into the garage, I was hit with the smell of sawdust and old paint. There next to the fridge was a nearly overflowing recycling bin, and it was full of those distinct neon green cans. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone. I needed a clear shot. I snapped a quick picture, the flash feeling like a searchlight. Just then, my eye caught something else. On a shelf above the workbench, tucked behind some old rags, was an amber-colored prescription bottle. The label was facing out. The name on it was Leo's. Curious, I stepped closer. The prescription was for a powerful ADHD medication. The fill date was over a year ago. The pills remaining should have been 0 months and months ago, but when I picked it up, it felt at least half full. My blood ran cold. Leo didn't have ADHD. A dozen little things suddenly clicked into place. The jitters that were way worse than just caffeine. The constant sweating. His wild claim about feeling colors right before the race. He wasn't just chugging energy drinks. He was mixing them with something he shouldn't have been taking at all. This was so much worse than I thought. I snapped another picture of the pill bottle, my hands trembling. This changed everything. Now for the hardest part, getting Leo on board. That night, I called him. My voice was shaky. Leo, your parents are going to the board meeting. I know. He said, his voice small. They won't listen to me. Then you have to make them listen. In front of everyone. I took a deep breath. Leo, I was in your garage today. I saw the recycling bin. I paused. And I saw your old pill bottle on the shelf. The line went silent. I could practically hear his world stop turning. Ben, he started, his voice cracking. You've been taking them, haven't you? With the energy drinks. A sob broke through the phone. I just wanted to do better, he whispered, to focus. It got out of control. My dad has the same prescription. I took some of his. Leo, your parents are going to blame the school for this. They're going to use you to prove they're right, and they have no idea what was really going on. I laid out the plan. I told him about my fake apology and how I'd set them up. I told him we had to tell the truth. All of it. I can't, Ben. They'll kill me. My dad, this isn't about getting in trouble, I said firmly. This about what almost happened to you. This is your story. You have to be the one to tell it. I heard him take a ragged breath. Finally, he whispered, okay, I'll do it. The night of the school board meeting, the library was packed. Leo's parents were in the front row, looking ready for a fight. I sat with my parents a few rows back. Leo sat with me, looking terrified. When the public comment section opened, Mrs. Davies was the first one at the microphone. She launched into a 10-minute tirade. She blamed the intense pressure of PE. She painted a picture of Leo as a victim of a flawed system. Frankly, she finished, the fact that the school's response is to punish all the students is appalling. No one ever told us these drinks were a problem. The school failed to protect our son. She sat down to a smattering of confused applause. The board president looked tired. Thank you, Mrs. Davies. Does anyone else wish to speak? Slowly, I stood up. Then Leo stood up next to me. We walked to the microphone together. My heart was pounding. Leo was shaking, but he stood tall. I spoke first. Hi, my name is Ben. And this is my best friend, Leo. I kept my voice calm. I just want to add some context. Mrs. Davies said the school failed to educate students on the dangers of these drinks. But we had a health class presentation on this exact topic in September. A murmur went through the crowd. Leo's mom's face started to change from smug to confused. I continued. She also said no one told them there was a problem. But I personally told Leo almost every day that his habit was dangerous. Now the murmurs were louder. I could feel Mrs. Davies' glare burning into me. And finally, I said, my voice getting stronger, this wasn't just the school's fault or Coach Thompson's fault, or my fault. I paused, then looked directly at Leo's parents. It was the fault of the adults who kept buying him cases of energy drinks, even when they saw their son's hands shaking every single morning. The room went dead silent. Leo's mom's mouth was hanging open. Then Leo, my quiet, guilt-ridden friend, stepped up to the mic. His voice was shaky but clear. They're right. Ben is right. I'm sorry for what happened. But it wasn't just the energy drinks. He took a deep, shuddering breath. Every eye in the room was on him. His parents stared in horror, realizing what was coming. I was also taking medication that wasn't prescribed to me. He said, the words rushing out. I took it from my dad's prescription. I mixed them together because I thought it would help me do better in school. It was my choice and it was a stupid one. I'm glad the drinks are banned. I don't want anyone else to end up in the hospital like I did. Or worse. He stepped back from the microphone, the ordeal over. The trap had sprung. We walked back to our seats. Nobody clapped. It was a moment of heavy, undeniable truth. I glanced back at Leo's parents. Their faces were white with shock, humiliation, and for the first time, fear. They had walked right into a public forum to lie, only to have their son expose a truth 1,000 times worse. The mask was off. The band stayed, of course. Leo and I walked out of that library feeling 10 feet tall. He wasn't a victim anymore, and I wasn't a bad friend. We were just two kids who had finally told the truth. The fallout was rough. There were family services and a lot of therapy. But for the first time, Leo was getting the actual help he needed, not just more caffeine. Our friendship was stronger than ever. He was back to being just Leo, no jitters, no secrets, just my nerdy, funny best friend. Sometimes you have to help your friends face a truth they can't face alone, even if it means bringing everything into the light.